So today we're going to be making a wax bracelet which has square knots and beads with a word. But this is also applicable to making a square knot bracelet without beads. So if you're interested in either of these, this is the tutorial for you. So I want to make a pattern like this, which has different colors on the inside and the outside. So I chose 3 different colors. But you can also make it so that the color is the same on the inside and the outside by just choosing one. So I'm gonna take my 3 colors and I'm gonna have this beige color be my base. So I'm gonna find the end wherever it's hiding. Hello, there she is. So I'm gonna find the end. This is gonna be your bracelet strand. So if you look here, this part that you pull is kind of the base. So I like to measure it around my wrist like this, and then give it some extra. So you leave space for it to be tightened. So like that. So I'm gonna grab this end here. It's about that long. And then I just cut off the end there. So now you have your base string. And I'm gonna be doing it on this clipboard, but it works just as well with some tape. So now I'm gonna put this to the side over here and take my 2 other colors to make the knotted part on here. So I'm gonna take some light blue and some dark blue, and I'm gonna make them the same length of strands. So for this, I don't use an actual measurement. I kind of just go by my eye personally. So if you need any help, ask about that, but this should be pretty good. So it's about twice the length of the clipboard. So then I cut it there, and I take my other color, which is my light blue, and match it at the top here, like so. And then I pull it so that they are the same length. And I just cut it right there. So now, if you are doing the 2 colors, this is gonna be the tricky part. It's sticking them together at the top. If you're doing 1 color, like this bracelet, you're just gonna make 1 extra long strand of a color and loop it here at the top and make a little upside down U. So it goes over itself. But to connect these 2 colors, I melt the wax together. This string is made completely out of wax, so it melts very easily, and it also dries very fast. This part can be kind of tricky, so if you need help, you can ask me or one of the other officers. And I personally have low sensitivity in my fingers at this point from this, so it doesn't really affect me. But essentially what you're gonna do is burn the ends together like this. Once it catches on fire, I blow it out and pinch it together. Again, I am grabbing hot wax, so if you don't want to do that, you can ask for help from one of us. It doesn't bother me at this point. So now I'm going to take this string up here, and I'm going to say I want about this much on the end. So this is going to be the pulling end right here. So maybe a little bit shorter. You want to leave a little bit so you can tie this knot here. So I'm gonna take that, and you're gonna tape it down so that that's at the bottom, but I'm just gonna clip it on the clipboard right here. Then I'm gonna take all my letters, which are my beads, and put them in the order that I want them on the string. So I am making my bracelet trash can themed. And so you just slide them all on, making sure that they're in the right order, because once you start the bracelet, it's going to be pretty difficult to switch back and change the order of the beads. Beautiful. So now you can see that it says trash can on there, and I'm going to take this end that isn't taped down or on my clipboard and tie it into a knot so that the beads won't slip off while I'm making the rest of the bracelet. So let me show you that really quick. I take the string and put it over itself like so, and then take it and put it through the bottom. And from there, it's gonna look like a little pretzel, and I push it as I tighten the knot, so it tightens at the very end of the string, and I'm not wasting a lot of space on it. So you can see here now it has that little end, and I like to burn off the end and make sure it's like a nice little ball right there, so it's easy to pull when you go to tighten your bracelet. So again, just a little burn, let it, and blow it out, and then I just press it with my fingers to shape it into the little ball. Wonderful. So now we have all our letters on our string, and let's start with the knots. So we want to put our string underneath our base, like so. If you have a loop in your string and it's just one color, make sure that it's staying in the middle because you don't want the strings to be uneven. So to make our square knot, we're gonna go over with one string, so our dark blue string for me, and then you're gonna take your other string and go over that color. So you're crossing over with one string, over the base string, and then your other string goes over your dark blue string. From here, you're gonna go under the base string. So you're basically trapping the base string between the two and going back through the front of the dark blue string. And this part can be a little bit tricky to start because the string tends to move in different directions and not stay centered. So again, if you need help with this part of the process, please let us know. Once you have that, you can pull it tight. Again, just holding the string kind of taut so that it doesn't move around too much. Beautiful. And at this point, it's kind of hard to tell if it looks right just because you haven't done very much yet, but that's kind of what the first knot is going to look like. Once you get onto your second and third knots, it gets a lot more clear whether or not you're doing them right. So I am going to slide this up to the top because this is going to be the end of our bracelet. And this is going to be the part that we use to tighten. And then from here, we're going to do the same exact process, but the other way around. So we're going to go back over our base string with our dark blue, over the dark blue with our light blue, go behind the base string with our light blue, and through the middle. So then we're just going to pull it nice and tight like this, and you can see that it starts to form the ridges on the outside, and make the little V's that are on the inside. So for this bracelet, the dark blue are going to be the V's and the light blue are going to be the ridges on the outside. Let's do one more knot to make it clear that what the knot is supposed to look like. So again, the base string should be trapped between the two outer strings while you're making this knot. Now I'm gonna do a few more knots just to show the process, and depending on the length of your word, you have to decide how long you want to make the beginning knots. So my word is kind of long, so I'm gonna do less knots than I would in this because it only has 3 letters. Trash can has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. So you have to keep in mind that it's gonna be a bit longer, probably about this length. And so you only need about this many knots. So that's definitely something to keep in mind based on the amount of letters your word has. And if you are making a bracelet with no letters, then you can just do these square knots the entire time. Okay, so now that we've finished the knots at the beginning of our bracelet, we are going to start adding in our letters. So we're gonna do that by sliding up 1 letter at a time and then doing the same knot we have been doing this whole time, except we're incorporating the bead. So we're gonna start by putting our dark blue over our base string, our light blue over the dark blue, then underneath the base string and through the back, like so. Then you're gonna pull it so that it's nice and tight. Make sure your letter is facing the right way. And I like to pull it nice and tight. And then I complete the knot. So I go the other way with the blue around the back, underneath, and pull it tight so it makes that little V with the ridge down here. From there, you can continue sliding up and doing 1 bead at a time. And completing the knot after each one. If you don't complete the knot, then it's not going to stay and the beads aren't going to be properly separated. Let's keep going with our A. And this is the same process you're gonna do until you get to the end of the word. Again, make sure you pull it very tight so that your beads don't flip around. So once you've finished the knots on all of the letters, you're gonna continue making the regular knots down until you get to about here. Make sure you leave a nice little tail, again, so that you can tighten the bracelet once it's done. So once you finish your ending knots here, you wanna finish it off by flipping the bracelet over and then making just a regular knot. I don't know the name of it, but just one over the other and just pulling it nice and tight on the end there. Then I like to take my scissors and snip off both sides like so. Then I take it off the table or the clipboard, whatever it's on, and I burn those little ends so that it doesn't come undone. Make sure that you don't burn your base string because it is wax, and if it melts too much, it will break. And that's not something we want to happen. Another thing to do here is our little start to our bracelet can sometimes leave this little spot that is hanging off, and so I also like to burn that part here back onto the rest of the bracelet. Beautiful. Okay, so now that we have this done, we're gonna make our knot on our other side to end our bracelet. Again, making our little pretzel knot and pulling it tight to the very end of the string and burning the end. Okay, so now we have our whole bracelet. We just need to attach these two sides so that it works like a little drawstring. And we're gonna do that by making the same square knots right here, but over these two strings. So I'm gonna take the light blue, and you only need about this much string. So I would say about 5 or 6 inches. Then cut that. And here you're gonna want some more tape or the clipboard, whatever you have. And you're gonna put those two together, like so. And here, you're just gonna loop it over. And I like to start by tying just a knot like this so that it's nice and tight. And then you continue to make your square knots. Sorry, this string is very short, so it's kind of hard to demonstrate, but again, you're still making the same exact knots that you were earlier in your bracelet. Making sure you're pulling it very tight. I like to do about 3 or 4 knots, just so it's nice and secure there. Okay, so that should be pretty good. To end it out, I do the same knot that I used to end out my other bracelet. Just do one over the other, and again, pull it nice and tight, and trim the ends. From here, you just burn those little ends again. Making sure not to burn your base string or your fingers. And from here, I like to do a little pull test to make sure everything's working properly. And it looks like it is perfect. So that is how you make, that's upside down. That is how you make a nice little beaded wax bracelet.